they are trying to cancel Moistcr1tikal. Now look, I already made a video on this subject matter, but what this video is all about is responding to some of the comments that I got, as well as some of the influencers attacking Charlie in a debate where Sneako was defending dating, marrying, and fucking 12 to 15-year-olds. Nickmercs was brought up in my comment section, and for full context, Nickmercs has had some controversies where he was being accused of being transphobic. He denies it. He just said he wanted to defend the kids. A year later, he makes multiple transphobic, homophobic statements. He actually spoke on this issue related to Charlie, saying Charlie wants to castrate kids and is sick in the head. Might I remind you guys, this is the same debate where Sneako was literally advocating for fucking and marrying 12-year-olds and 15-year-olds as long as they're mature and their father consents. Also, I gotta say, I don't really care what Dr. Disrespect's Strongest Soldier has to say about protecting kids, because apparently when it comes to your friends, it really doesn't matter that much. Also, the guy that referred to Mr. Mercs in my comment section so claims that what Charlie said, which was trans people have a right to exist pretty much, is worse than anything that Sneako said in that debate, which was that you should fuck the kids. Literally. So this comment actually interests me because it was making arguments. Bad arguments, dumb arguments, but arguments nonetheless. Their first argument is that puberty blockers are not reversible and will sterilize you, and is given to sex offenders to sterilize them. Now he ignores the actual research which shows it is reversible, in turn is not sterilizing, and it's really easy to search that the medication given to sex offenders to castrate them is different than puberty blockers. It's just literally two different products. It's also worth noting that puberty blockers are used for other medical situations, not just trans people, but it's only controversial when it's related to trans people. Now he goes on to say that the kids will simply move on, that it's just a phase, and that transition itself will increase the chance of suicide. Once again, he's wrong. First of all, if it is just a phase, that's why puberty blockers are perfect, because they can then, after years of seeing if it's right for them or not, decide, you know what, I'm not trans, and I want my regular puberty, and they get off the drugs, and they go through the regular puberty. That's the point. As for the claim that transition will increase the chance of suicide, that is patently, completely, unbelievably false. It's complete nonsense. Decades of research prove that that claim is completely untrue, and that the opposite is true. That transitioning helps people, and it saves lives. Even just social transition, meaning respecting their pronouns, having support from friends and family, that saves lives, that lowers depression, that lowers anxiety. This is undisputable. Last point the guy brings up is detransitioners. So we're talking about the 1% or potentially 0.2% of trans people that regret transitioning. Now the reality is there's always going to be people that regret getting a medical procedure, like 17% of people that regret getting a knee surgery. Compared to trans people, that rate's pretty high. Even for those that do detransition, a lot of the reasoning isn't even regret. It's financial, it's social. So I'm sorry, I don't care what the detransitioner on Fox News has to say about trans rights. They represent barely a fraction of a minority. They don't matter in this conversation. I also really don't care what Nickmercs, predator defender on the record, has to say about this situation. I also really do not give a fuck what Sneako, Mr. Pedophilia himself, has to say about whether or not trans people are good or bad. What I do know is that Moistcr1tikal Charlie does not deserve the bullshit he's getting for simply acknowledging and recognizing the existence of trans people. This is ridiculous. He was debating someone arguing for pedophilia. Can the internet, can the right wing get its shit together? Is this not so indicative of the current political state of the country and the world that the right wing is just outright siding with the pedophile?